I'm really Instroza, and this is a presentation about a classroom, about a primary classroom. So I want you to think about a classroom. Think about the desks and chairs that are distributed in the classroom, about the teachers, about how many students are there. Do you have that picture in your mind? Well, when I think of a classroom, actually, this is what I think. As a school teacher, I was working with over 40 students in a class, really overcrowded, and I was constantly concerned about the lack of resources, the lack of engagement, and every night I went to bed thinking, okay, this is not really right. So what I found was that large classes is a problem in some countries, but it's actually a reality in many others. So should I keep thinking about this as a problem, or should I start thinking about the solutions and the opportunities this context provides? So I talked and shared this concept with other colleagues, other teachers, and someone mentioned group work. I thought, yeah, it works, but it didn't. It seems that it's more than just getting 4 students to work together. We need to improve collaboration and cooperation in this group. But then I thought, could this really help me to make my lesson more meaningful? Mainly because English for these kids is just a foreign language that is not spoken in any place outside the classroom, outside my lesson. So as if this is just a subject. However, in the latest decades, in the last decades, more and more countries are including this as part of their young learners' education. So, in fact, many books and publications have been done on supporting you on working with young learners, learning English as a foreign language. But then I thought, what's the point of this and my kindergartens? There wasn't much connection really, because there's a lot of research on what's going on with young learners in learning English, and there's a lot of things going on with the difficulties in large classes, but nobody talks about what about children learning English in a large class. So then I decided to know what was going on with my colleagues in Chile. So let me tell you a bit about Chile. Chile is a country that produces the best wine ever, and we have 38 students in our classroom. Our teachers are not really qualified because they don't speak English mainly, or because they don't know how to work with young learners. And we have English in our national syllables. Start in year 6. All right? Fair enough. But it seems that schools are starting to teach earlier years, so the ministry decided to create a book from year 2 with no syllables at all, just the book. So, okay, I really wanted to know what was going on with my context, with Chile and with other colleagues. So I thought, I have these lovely activities for developing listening and speaking skills with young learners, and this great solution of group work. But is this really connected to our context? Is really connected? Is this really working? So, to find out some answers to my question, I decided to go into the field. I'll try to get in touch with teachers, to talk to young learners, and at the same time to observe some classrooms. All right, that's my plan. Now, I want to talk about many teachers, but then I thought, okay, I can do that. I can know about resources, and I can know about whether these are effective or not, right? But then I thought, empty numbers does not provide me with, as a teacher, I know that there are some things missing in numbers. What's going on in the classroom? What's going on with the kids? So I decided to create a project with these little bits and to construct a better, let's say, a richer idea of what was going on. And I created this project divided into 3 studies: survey study, case study, quasi-experiment study, which is basically to organize my ideas and my questions. There's no much of a point in dividing them apart from that. So the first study is focusing on getting people's perspective on large classes and learning English as a foreign language. So I'm going to ask teachers to answer an online questionnaire. I'm going to get these little ones and ask them questions about how they feel in this context. Now, these little ones come from 4 classes. This is kind of complicated, but I'm going to train 2 teachers on these activities to work with young learners and in group work. I'm going to train other 2 teachers only in the activities. So I have 4 classes. What are these 4 classes for? Well, in first case, I'm going to focus on the benefits of group work. So I included some group work questions in my questionnaire. I'm going to observe the classroom and see what's going on with the class while I'm implementing this training. And I'm going to ask the teachers a bit about how they feel and how they see their class is progressing. Now, then I have to measure learning. So, tests. That's the only way I can do it. So I'm going to give these students in this 4 classes, a test on listening and speaking in 3 stages, before, while, and after the project. Now, what's the idea of doing all this? I think that through the questionnaire, the interviews, and the observations, and talking to the teachers, getting to the classroom, and talking to the children, I could get a bit of an insight to what's going on in the Chilean classrooms. Now, what's the point of all this? Say, okay, it's a huge thing, what should I do with it? Mainly because I think that there's a lot of things going on and people saying what you should do in your classroom. And no one is asking much about what is appropriate to your context. And I think that this kind of project could provide a bit of, or maybe a first step on what is really, really important. And what's really important for me, at least, is to make the experience of teaching and learning a foreign language, in this case English, a meaningful and successful experience. Thank you very much.